What's up, my loves? We are finally getting to this 10-minute tease template. This one might be a 12-minute tease because you do have to change your drips quite a little bit, especially if you don't have a brush. So I'm going to show you how to do it without a brush. And if you purchase the brush package, it has the drips in there. So, and then if you purchase an old brush package that doesn't have the drips in it, let me know. I can check your past order, make sure that we're good, and then I can send you the updated brushes. But I think they had drips in the first brushes, but we'll see. If you don't have them, let me know. I'm sure y'all will let me know. Let's get going. What I do, I have two different versions of the gold photo on here, and that's because there are so many ways that you can tweak the levels and the layers, especially with the filters, and it reacts differently based on the color of the clothing. Like in this case, his clothing was white. Of course, his skin is darker brown, so I had to contrast that for this one with Cardi, because Cardi's skin is lighter and then her entire outfit was black. So you have to modify these features a little bit so that whatever you want to come out comes out, because what it's doing is using kind of like an exposure effect, or not an exposure, like an inverse effect. So you don't really know what that effect is doing to the photo until you play with it, and you'll see that in just a moment. So we're going to start with our original image here and switch it up. So for this one, I'm going to go with the Cardi one, and I will show you. I'm going to show you what it looks like if we put the football player back. So I double clicked on it to open my smart objects. You can see I haven't done her drips or anything yet. So this would be just like pulling in a new photo. So I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. So you would double click. Let's say it didn't start out with Cardi and it started off with the football player. Matter of fact, this is a good exercise because it'll show you what the effects look like on the same image, and you'll understand what I'm saying. So I'm going to bring it back to the original image, and you'll see what I'm saying here. Okay, so I have 1 and 2. You see that huge difference? And they're the same exact layers and effects. It's just that they are applied differently. So I've modified some of the features within it. And you might like this better if you're going with the lighter gold. Like I said, I tend to paint away some of the gold and show the face and a little bit of the hands and things of that nature. So for Cardi, we're going to go with this one, and I'm going to show you how, because she's wearing black and her skin is a different skin tone, it's just a different type of effect that it applies. So this is going to be a good one for you to learn about how to work with your blend modes. So let's do this. Let's double click on this image. Now I have two. I have a smart object for the entire group, and then I have a smart object for just dealing with the photo. So we're going to double click into that smart object, and or any of those. You'll see it's several of those with the photo. They're all the same thing, and when you double click it, it will open up the source image. So in this case, instead of me showing you that Cardi's already here, I'm going to pull it in from my file. So let me delete, and then we'll pull her in. And I did a video today on how to use the pen tool to cut her out, because this particular image was very hard to use remove BG. And while I'm here, I'm not going to, this is the one time that I'm going to tell y'all it's cool to leave this hard line, okay? One time. Let's see, we need our drip brush layer. And we're going to throw our drips in there. And I'm going to show you how to do this if you don't have brushes, because like I said, I want you all to know how to do this regardless of whether you have fancy brushes or not. So this one's going to come with some pre-made drips. So we have drip 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now these are all individual PNGs. So what I can do is I can turn on my auto select. That'll make this a lot easier. If I select one, I can start dragging it. And what I'm ensuring is that don't have it kind of hanging off. You want it to look believable, like it's coming from the image. And here, let me select that one. And then if I want to duplicate that one, I can hold down Alt and drag a version of it to another location. Now this is the way that I've had to develop this for you all. That one right there is way too fat. Let me change it. Control T, I can transform it, and then I can make it smaller, much smaller. Hit enter, and then it's still a thick one, but it's just not so big that it doesn't make sense. All right. And what was I telling y'all before I saw that big old fat one that needed to be changed? Who knows? I'm sure I'll come back to it. But yeah, so what we're doing at this moment, and I don't like to put super long ones at the bottom because I never know where I'm actually going to cut my graphic off. So the long ones I tend to put places where it would be okay for me to see the longer drips, and it won't interfere with my text placement down the road. And you see, I pretty much placed all of my drips, and as a matter of fact, I'm probably going to place them underneath my graphic, so then that way I can see if they're hanging out appropriately. This one I can tell needs to go somewhere. You can go somewhere. And then I'm probably going to just start filling this out a little bit. The drips are definitely vertical, so you probably won't have them hanging off but places that you would actually see them. And maybe you'll have them coming off of the edges a little bit, but I'm going to show you a trick for that. We're going to do something cool for that. So I'm just taking my Alt and I'm clicking and dragging a few of these to different locations. I'm doing this fast because you should be able to do this fast. We're just grabbing one, moving it around. I think I got enough long ones. I think I do. I might add a long one over here, like it's coming from the back long. Let me grab some more short ones, and I can resize them. And I probably would resize them if I was using the brush tool. The brush tool is automatically going to resize these as I go. So every time I click with the brush tool, it's going to resize that very same brush. So it gives it a little bit of a different effect. And then all of those 5 brushes that I have on here, I forgot I have auto select on. I should grab that. They're a little bit different in shape, a little bit different in size. So it gives you a little variation. I'm going to drag one of those over here. And sometimes I'll do 2 side by side. Sometimes I'll just do 1 single. This is really no particular science at all. This is just about you having fun with it. And maybe that one I'm going to make just a little bit bigger than the other one, so it looks like it has some step and variation to it. Let's grab one of these skinny ones and give them a place over here. You see, I want to make sure the top of them are not just hanging, looking like it's just floating in midair. So that one I made a little bit bigger. So now what I'll start doing is I'll start copying that one. So I just don't copy the same one every single time. And let's get some drippage going on here. Of course, I have to hide that a little bit. Come on, scoot over, darling. There you go. And like I said, this tutorial is the one that I was telling you would take a little while longer because it does involve making these drips up. It looks easy and fun, but you're basically following the contour of whatever the photo is. So if you have photos with different contours, like I said, these gold templates that are coming out, charge more to work with them because they aren't exactly drag and drop. You do have to manipulate and play with some factors like the levels and the filters and that sort of thing. And then you also have to do stuff like, you know, play with these drips around it. So do what you have to do to charge what you need to charge for your time. It is valuable, honey, especially when you're doing things like this. Not everybody is doing this, and I'm sure you know that. So I'm just trying to help give you some tools that make your work stand out and give you a reason to be able to charge. Alright, so everywhere that kind of hangs over, I have something coming down from it. And we're not going to worry about the foreground of the image. We're just going to keep this simple to the background. Now, I'm going to do I'm closing up all these little drip layers. Alright, so I'm going to do a new layer. I'm going to use a regular hard brush though, not a soft brush. And if I have the soft brush selected, all I do is drag my hardness up, and then I might bring the size down just a little bit. And what I'm going to do is create a cool little squiggly effect, and for lack of a better term. Let's try it. And you'll see that it's going to take on the effects of the brushes there, because I do have a layer effect on there. Oh no, I don't. Let me copy the layer style, and then I'm going to paste the layer style onto the little squigglies I'm drawing. Copy layer style, paste layer style. And then let's continue painting. There you go. So see how you see the little 3D kind of showing up a little bit? And really what I'm trying to do is connect these drips so they don't look like they're hanging randomly. That's going to be very important down here. And in fact, I probably need to even reduce the size of my brush a little bit. Get in close. And I might even put an extra drip right here. We'll see. So I'm just going up, down, creating something for those drips to attach to. Alright. I will do the same thing wherever I see anything hanging. Or you can also do it like I was saying behind her, where she would probably have something dripping off, but you just wouldn't see the drips because they would be behind her arm or her dress here. You can kind of make it look like there would have been some drips kind of going and dripping behind her. So that's it. We really don't need any on the sides, but if you wanted to, you could throw some in there. I'm not going to do too much more to her hair because I just wanted a little bit of drip on the outside of the hair. I really want the hair to kind of stand out on its own. And I think that is it. So we'll close out, say yes, and see what we're looking like. And this is where we're going to let the program and the template do the work and pray for the best in the process. There we go. Voila. And me, I'm a different kind of creature, and I probably would look it down here and say, ooh, you know what? Let me play with this just a little bit more. And what I'm going to do, instead of like fading it straight across, I'm going to do a layer mask here, and I'll take a soft brush. I'm going to take my brush and make it softer, a little bit bigger, and then I'm going to come up into my image and kind of do the opposite of what I just did. I'm going to fade away some of the actual image, and then I'm going to have to repaint just above it so it'll blend well, because I don't do those harsh lines. Y'all know it. I don't even have to say it anymore. Alright, so I go back to my drip layer, and this is, let me label this layer. What did I call this on the other one? I didn't call it squigglies. I need to figure out what I called it on the other one. I'll show you what I called it on the other one, so I can be consistent. So when you watch this video, you won't be like, what did Shannon say? Let's see. That just means I'm going to be opening up 2 smart objects, and that's our beautiful subject there. Let's do, what did I call it? Oh, I guess I didn't call it anything, just drip brush. So So I should call it here. So I'm going to say brush with hard, or no, I'm going to say hard brush, hard round brush. We're going to call this the contour photo. So let me copy that, paste that. This is all a part of me making these templates, guys. I really do try my best to make it something that you all will be able to follow along with. And I think I changed it back to this one instead of Cardi. Hold on. Oh, I didn't. There we go. So I'm just going to relabel this as hard round brush contour, and then I have to put photo, because if I put too many words here, if you have your layers panel like this, you'll be like, what did she say? I can't read over there. So if that happens, and I just did something over here, but if that happens and you can't read and your layers panel looks like this, come over here to the edge of the panel window and just drag it out until you can read. Okay, that's going to be important for some things. And that's what I did. I just turned the visibility off. Didn't mean to, but I did. So I'm going to stay on this layer, and I'm going to grab my paintbrush. I have the soft one selected now, which shouldn't be a problem because I'm coming into my photo now. I need the hard one because I don't want soft edges. Just like my paintbrush doesn't have soft edges. I don't want soft edges when it comes to the gold drip. Okay. So now that I have filled that in, that should look, and I probably, like, knowing me, I would go and I would follow this exact contour and clean that up a little bit, but I think we're good enough on this one. Let's say yes, we're going to save and let it update and see what we're looking like. And then we also, so we had two smart objects. So this was our update, and our drips look good. That looks better to me. Like I said, I would probably play with a little bit more, even drag a little black down there. And I just want y'all to go ahead and be able to get through this. And I would probably also throw some more drips, like really make this thing look filled out. And you see I have a little excess drip down there, so let me double click on my smart object. I missed that right there. So let's grab, I guess it knew when I said I was going to throw some more drips on there. It was trying to be literal for me. Don't do that, boo. Don't embarrass me on my video, sir. Thank you. Get on up in there. Alright, so we'll leave that alone as is. And like I said, you can always play with adding more drips, giving it a little bit more detail in life. But the idea here is that you understand how to edit and manipulate these files in a quick-ish manner. This one, like I said, is a little more complicated. So now I'm going to close out of this and say yes, because it's going to update. And this one was a hard one, guys, because she has all these different textures. She has a lace, it's like a fur type of material here, and then the leopard print, I think, might be furry too. So the more textures you have, these gold tones can get real trippy. All right, so of course we're not Mariana Bulldogs anymore. And then what I did was I have two different levels of text. There's a top and the bottom. So let's just say that I'm going to turn off text 1, which is a top, and then we'll just play with text 2, which I want to be above my image. I want it to look like it's in front of her. Or maybe I want her to drip onto the text. We'll see when we figure it out. But I'm just going to do straight up, let's see. And we can double click on this even though it's not visible, and this is where I want to edit. So let's do the graffiti font, and we're going to do the word dripping. So this is going to be fun. So this is actually kind of a tutorial too, because you're doing this, you know, fresh. So let's do text here, or as a matter of fact, we already got everything ready that we need. Double click on the text and we'll change this to drippin, drippin, and the font will come over here to our character and change it to the Fresh Princess graffiti font. And what I'm going to do, because I'm probably so you're just not gonna do what I asked you to do? Let me change that font. Control A selects all. Oh, you know what I was supposed to be doing? Oh, that was cool too. But I think I want to go with this one because it's my font and I'm going to show off my font. But I like the other one too, I'm not going to lie. As a matter of fact, I might do it as an alternative because I want to say that one might even be a free font. The Drippin' Marker font. Mine is not free. I think it is for the $10, but definitely worth it because you can use it for a lot of different projects that you're working on. It gives you those Fresh Prince vibes. So I'm trying to see if I want my accents top, bottom, or if they're going throughout. These are my little swirls that made it look a little 3D. And I have this auto select on. Let me take it off because I know what I selected. I selected my drips and I want to pull them down. Now, before these drips make any sense, I'm just going to move them on out the way right now. Before they make any sense, this font is what's called an open face font, meaning that you're going to see transparency through part of the text. So it won't make sense unless you just put those drips exactly on this outline, and that's not really going to give you the full effect you want. So what I'm going to do on my text layer, here's a new trick, guys, so I hope you're paying attention to this. You're going to take your magic wand and you're going to select the outside. Right, and I think there isn't too much in there that I need to grab. I'll get that little piece right there too. So I'm on the addition selection mode. So you see add to selection. If you're on new selection, then let me show you. If I were on new selection and I click here, it's going to make a brand new selection. And if I'm on addition, it added this part to this part. And I'm going to do subtraction now because I want to take away the inside. Oh no. I'm going to do addition still. I'm adding to it because I forget that I'm selecting the outside right now. So I want to have the inside parts of the text open, and then I want it to look like there is some type of backing to the text. So now I'm going to do select and inverse, or I can do shift control I, and we'll do new layer. Drag it below, grab this paint bucket, make sure we're on default white, paste it on in there, and then I don't want any effects applied to this at all. So I'm going to drag it below everything, make it have its own layer. So now you see that fresh white popping up, it's popping. I'm going to save, Control S, or I could close out, and I want to see what this looks like. So I'm going to close it out. And then I'll come back and fix my drips. That's what I want. So you see how what I was telling you, this thing works in inverse. So I put white there and it added a black backing. So if I were to do the opposite, you can imagine what would happen. I don't know for sure, but I can probably bet on that. If I would have put a black outline or a black backing to it, then the white would have popped through. So instead of guessing, let's see, why not? And instead of me just painting that, I'm going to do a color overlay. Y'all just be learning all kind of tricks. Color overlay, let's do black. And, well, I don't know. Let's see, because I don't know if it'll be white now. Let's see. It's not white. That theory was wrong. So that's when I tell you, you do not know how you're going to be editing this stuff. It is crazy. But you know what? I also have a drop shadow on this and some other things going on. But I mean, either way, I think that looks good. As a matter of fact, I don't know that there was any real difference from the one before, but I like this. I am feeling this, y'all. And you see the little swirlies that I put on there. I can take those off and show you what it looks like with those. So this isn't really part of the 10-minute template. This is just showing you some extra stuff that you can do to modify. So let's do that. Let's save it again. Let's see what we're looking like. And see, that's what it looks like, just clean without the swirlies on there. But I like the swirlies because to me it kind of gives it a look like it's reflecting something in, you know, in the room. So it doesn't just look so generic, like it's fresh out the factory and nothing is around it. So let me add that back. And then my drips I didn't see because of course it was towards the edge of the paper. So now we're going to move these drips. First thing I'm going to do is take the whole group, move it up so that I see what am I touching and what am I going to be missing. And I was also confused on whether I want to do dripping in all caps or, so that's all caps, that's small caps. Of course I would have to change my, so I guess we're going to do all caps because I'm not changing this. I can take that off, and then the dripping is with the lowercase. So like the Fresh Prince actually has the lowercase. You know what? I think I'm going to do lowercase. So we'll do this backing part again. So I'll take that and delete it. And we'll show you one more again. You get one more opportunity to see this. So I have my text. My text is still editable. I don't have to merge it or anything. However, whatever I do to this backing is definitely, it's going to be a bitmap. Because I don't want to create a smart object just for this and then that just be weighing the computer down just for a font. So that's why I'm showing you this technique. So I will take my magic wand, and this time I'm just going to do the outside. I'm not even going to get fancy and do the inside pieces. So we'll do select, inverse. So I had the outside meat selected. When I did inverse, it selected the inside meat. I'm going to do a fresh new layer. So down here, the square with the plus sign in it, that's my new layer. And I'm going to fill it with, it really doesn't matter, but I'm going to fill it with white. And of course you don't see it, so I will drag it to the bottom because now those effects aren't applying to it. It just is what it is, which is a bitmap layer filled with white paint. And then we'll do a color overlay to throw that black on there because I think I did like how the black did. I don't really recall whether it made much of a difference, but that was the last thing I saw and I liked it, so I'm sticking to it. Now what we can do is take the drips, and the drips pretty much need to be below this text layer. However, you're going to see something happen. I lost my effects on my drips. So I'm going to copy where it says effects with drips. I'm going to copy that layer style, and then I'm going to paste it. And the reason why I did that is because somewhere in between there, I need something to not have the swirlies on it because I need that to stand out. So I have the same layer effect on the word dripping and the drips in the background, but the drips are behind my piece right now that I created. So yeah, I got y'all on a little extra today, but you're gonna thank me later. All right, so let's move these drips. Let's move them. We'll go to our selection tool and then go ahead and go to auto select because you should be able to, I've told you auto select be tripping. All right, so auto select, you should understand I'm trying to click on the drip right now. So auto select doesn't understand. So what I'm going to do is right click, select my drip. No. Are we linked here? Cannot be. Let me see. Oh, I still have auto select on. Auto select gets on my nerves because even though I told it what I wanted, which was this one, as soon as I clicked on it to move it, it auto selected what I didn't want. So we don't have anything linked there. It's just auto select is tripping. So let's see, now that it knows that I'm trying to select drips, let's see if it gets smart again. Auto select. Let's see if you know what you're doing. No, why do you keep moving dripping? As a matter of fact, you know what I can do real quick? Let me lock dripping and then see if auto select knows what I want. That's a good idea. And then I have to remember to unlock it because y'all will be like, well, why can't I move? My bad, y'all. Yeah, it's choosing what it wants to be choosing. I'm gonna lock it all because I would rather it move my drips. There we go. So I have a couple on there. I might do that fat one right there. Then these two are together. Some of these drips that I did for the text, it's kind of like pairs of drips, and I did that on purpose. So when it comes to text, you're usually going straight across something. And maybe this one would be shorter. I don't want it to look exactly like the one right next to it. We don't need no twins over here. We need to look like it's a little variation. And this one, let's pull that there. And I probably could do maybe another one of these. Boy, this auto select, y'all gotta stop. I guess I'll lock the swirls too. Swirl, now you're locked. Are y'all happy? You can't go anywhere. Only thing that could go somewhere is a drip. Alright, so let me see if my drip is... No way! Okay, auto select, you're done. You're done, sir. I was trying to give it a chance because I never really use it. I figured I would start showing y'all how to use it with this stuff because it would be really helpful if you don't have brushes and you had to move these around. I think I showed you on the last video where I was creating this last night, how I use the brushes. But I don't want to assume that you have brushes. So we're going to go ahead and do this as if you didn't. Alright, and then I have some extra pieces here. I will probably, let me see, is that a full piece or that's a collection? That's a full piece. I'll probably move some of this because this end's going to have way too many drips. And this is just me being technical when I don't have to be. You can blame that on my daddy. Alright. And honestly, this is more like what I like to see. I like to see more drips. Grab this one. I think there was one over here that could have used a little extra oomph. Alright, so we're going to leave that as it is. Close out of it. Say yes to save it and see what it looks like. We'll put our work into it. Ooh, yes. I likes it. And now we spent all that time trying to make her drip at the bottom, and the text is probably going to end up covering up her shirt anyway. So what I'm going to do, we're on our dripping layer. Now these layers are linked, so everything should move all together with your smart objects. And it even has a little drop shadow on there. So we might want to say something. Let's see, let's grab our subject. So this one is going to be gold chrome 1. Move her up a little bit. And of course now we don't need the background there. Now I wasn't going to get real fancy with y'all, but I have something I've been waiting to use. My little accents. Let's see. I'm just pulling in some little random monies. And of course it resizes it the size of the artboard, so we'll bring it down. And this reminds me, I think I may do, someone made a request to do a photo shirt, graduation. I can't remember if it was graduation or remembrance shirt with the like with the money floating around. So that reminds me that I need to do that. So maybe I'll be able to do that one after I finish. And we got to make them smaller because I want to be able to see them floating around. Zoom in. And then I can just grab one of these at a time. So there are several of them. Whichever one I grab is what's going to move. And I'm just going to randomly place them around. And I might even have too many of them. I might even shrink them down a little bit more by the time I figure out what I'm doing with them. And then I probably will drag these below the drips because I spend a lot of time making those drips and I want everybody to see them. So the floating money will probably, well, you know, we'll do some floating money in the foreground, some floating money in the background. And I think that'll give you some idea of a concept as well. So, you know, I think I'm going to include this in the template. So it wasn't in the template originally, it's just a football player, but I think I'll put the fallen money in here. So if you buy this template, it'll have all that stuff in it. And then I can get technical, click on it, and also find out which one to move rather than keep going down to my layers there. And that one there. I'm trying to also frame it at the same time so that it's not as random as you think. I think that one. I need some more flat ones for the bottom. Uh-oh. Undo, undo. There we go. Let's bring those little ones that are a little bit shorter towards the bottom because I don't want so much white space at the bottom of my design. And then maybe this one. Move over a little bit. And that one will kind of go towards the background. Anyhow, you can resize these whatever you like to do. You'll have that opportunity. So what I'm going to do is only leave a few of these in the front. So I'm going to take all of my money, all of it, and shift. I'm going to just group it and just call it floating money. And I'm going to drag it below my text, and well, I don't have text one on here, but I'll drag it so that it goes right in front of my background because I might have a background and money, so I don't want to just assume that, ooh, let's do the background with the money. I like that. So I'm going to turn off the bulldog, of course, and leave this galaxy look. And I have a black and white layer on it right now just because with the gold I just wanted to keep it like gold and black. It just looked really, really regal to me. So we got money, and I don't even think I'm going to put any other words or anything else into this because I want it to kind of just have its own presence. And then for you all to be able to come up with some stuff too. Plus, I don't know what to say. I'm not good with the slangs. But I did a all over jacket for one of my graduating class of kids. And there said dripping in success because at the time dripping in finesse just came out. So yeah, so I did that, and they were semi-embarrassed, but more than that, I think they were impressed. They love when I embarrass them like that because I have their photos all over me, and I did like a solo cup design, and yeah, I was late to graduation, but I had my babies all over me. All right, so I don't know, guys. I think that's it. You know, I could stay here and play with y'all all day. Let me show you this alternative one. Just so you know, these are two totally different chrome effects. Dang, you know what? I gotta show you something. I have to show it to you. I'm not going to change this, but I'm going to show you how you change the effects and how you can go in here. So this is like a little bonus to if one of those doesn't work exactly like you need it to. Let's say you pull a golden girl in there and then she just don't look right because the settings are off. Then yeah, you have to come in here and you have to play with some of these layers here. So for instance, if you click on something and you see the opacity has changed, that's a indication right there that that's something that I had to change in order to make it look right. I know for certain you can also turn things off and on and see if it's an effect that you want to keep. This one kind of made it look like plastic a little bit, so I like that. Kind of round it out and emboss those edges. This one instead of having a bright white highlight, this is one that I changed. So invert. And I'm going to show you what happens when you change the opacity or the fill, which is pretty much the opacity of the layer itself. When you change that, I'm going to have to remember I had it on 16. It goes like crazy. You don't know what it's going to do. And you'll think that, oh, if I reduce the opacity, it's going to get darker or it's going to get lighter. Nope. It does something weird somewhere between when it crosses with the layer that is multiplied and inverted on the other end. So you will not be able to guess it. You just have to play with it. And you might play with this and get a better effect than what I had initially. And that's exactly what this is here for. So that one, I definitely changed that one. I even changed the blend mode on some of these. So if you go to like this filter gallery, you double click on that. And I think the blend mode, oh, that one is normal. Hallelujah. We have some, what is that one? This one probably is hard light. So you won't see until you actually allow it to apply. I'm trying to zoom out so you can see what it does too. But if you chose darken instead of hard light, you get different effects. So go on there and pull it down, see what you get. And when it started looking like too sketchy, I wanted it to look smooth. I wanted it to look like chrome. So there's certain things that did that and certain things that don't do that. And you see, all of these give you different effects. So I think, yeah, we had hard light selected. I'll keep it on hard light. And you'll see some artifacts start to pull up, like little extra grains and dots and all of that stuff, and you have to decide if that's going to be the feature for you. Like I said, you change these around and each picture will kind of give you a different result. So that's why I said I'm not going to save that one, because I kind of liked it how I had it. I don't want to play with it anymore. I played with it long enough, trust me, making a template. Alright, so we have our background here, and I'll show you what's in the background on this template. You have, let me turn Cardi off for a second. You have a couple of little fireworks, and then they have these color overlays on them. So you can change the color of that firework. If you want it to be like the money green, you can come over here and grab some of the little, well, it's probably going to come out looking gray, but there's a little bit of green right there. And then here's my tip too. If you liked what you did to one of them, you can copy that layer style, and then you can paste it for these and see, is that what I really like? Do I really want it to be that money color? And then you say, nah, I liked it better previous way with the black. So you have that option. This is where you could drop a logo, and as long as the logo is pretty much black and white, it does let some of the background image play through the black part of the design, and then the white blocks out the other part of the design. So you see the galaxies here, but when we put the image in front of it, it has a hard light blend mode on it. Again, play with your blend modes, guys. These things are so, matter of fact, I think I just might have saw something that I like better. But yeah, these things are so cool, and it gives you so many options. Every design can look different if you just play with blend modes, honestly. Alright, so I think that's going to be it. I'm going to bring back my Cardi so I can take a PNG shot of that one. Oh, another thing, just in case, I told you that I have all the money in the background. Look, I'm trying to let y'all go, but I just don't want to today. It's Valentine's Day. You know I love y'all. I'll tell y'all all the time. Y'all don't ever tell me y'all love me. That's how y'all do. It's okay. Let me see. Oh, you know, it's adding the drop shadow to the background. I wanted to add the drop shadow to the floating monies. Alright. So if I wanted the money to look like it had a little dimension to it, let's make it a little bit of a shadow, and then I can make the opacity of the shadow very, very faint so that it barely looks like it's popping off. And then certain ones, like let's say like this one that's on her elbow, I might want to take that particular dollar, and then I'm going to drag it in front of the picture. So now I have like a couple of them that'll be in the foreground, in front of the drips, and maybe most of them, majority of them in the background. But I'm not going to confuse you like that. I'm going to keep all of the money in one folder so that when y'all see it, y'all don't see all these layers. I told you I was going to do my best to keep it simple. All right, so this is also alternate text. If you don't want to do your text like this, this is just another version where it has a gradient of purple kind of built over it and just done an entirely different way. This one is done all the way with effects rather than with the filters and the blend modes. This one has a lot of work built into it. This one is a simple effect. All right, so let's turn that off. We'll back up and take a look at our creation. And I think we are good to go. I don't think there was anything else I was going to show you today other than this. And I have a surprise and a freebie for today since it's Valentine's Day. And I love y'all so much. And I'm going to see if y'all love me too. All right, so let me go ahead and post this thing so I don't end up with another issue of telling y'all I was going to do something and it be posted a whole nother day. So I will check in with you all soon. Thank you. I love you. Bye for now.